have no idea what was going on at Mar-a-Lago over the past few days, but apparently there was some weird furry thing. Let them eat cake? Entertainers wearing dog masks and Rococo-era 18th century European aristocratic court costumes danced for Mar-a-Lago guests at a party this past weekend.
And the way you look tonight.
What the fuck? I don't understand. I think it would be a lot of fun to go to something like this if it was like a traditional masquerade ball. I think it gets a little weird when they're all wearing like rubber animal masks. I don't know. Isn't it a resort? Furries are rich? Yeah, furries are fucking loaded, bro. Like, you have to be to afford that shit. But like, I don't know. It's a little weird. It's a little weird to me. Do they think they can recreate the card table painting in some way? I get the dog Disney villain. Glad Trump is supporting the furry community. Why does this, why does real life feel like AI? That's a great question. I don't understand what this is. For those asking, yes, Trump was present and spoke at the event. Is this true? Grok, is this true? The event occurred at Mar-a-Lago during the American Humane Hero Dog Awards Gala on January 9th, 2026. A fundraiser honoring service dogs. Performers wore dog masks and Rococo costumes as thematic entertainment. Trump was present and spoke, confirmed by sources like Newsweek and Daily Beast. Oh man, I can't make fun of it anymore. That makes way too much sense that it was a fundraiser for honoring service dogs. That's all right. I can't make fun of that. I can't make fun of that. And if it was just the performers, that makes it even less weird. Sounds less sinister. I thought this was like pretty much everybody was going to be wearing it, but no, if it's just the performers and it's for honoring service dogs, I'll let it pass. I'll let it pass. That's cooler than a furry party. And then I guess trying to like dunk on Trump for this, which, you know, once again, I got more information and I changed my opinion based on the new information. Governor Gavin Newsom said the whole dictator cosplay thing is starting to make sense. I don't know if making fun of Donald Trump for hosting a fundraiser for service dogs is really the direction you want to go in, right? And like it's quote retweeting themselves saying, why is Donald Trump hosting a furry party? Which that is what it looks like upon first look. But I think furries might be insulted that they're like $5,000 fur heads are compared to these like Party City masks. I digress though. I digress. It makes a lot of sense that these are people here for a fundraiser for service dogs, and these are performers, not the actual guests of the party. Gavin Newsom shot himself in the foot doing that. Aren't furries turbo liberal? As far as I know, yeah. As far as I know, yeah. So it's very interesting that he wanted to get in a dunk on furries, and then also just continued and made an AI Trump in a fursuit. Talking about dictator cosplay. I don't know if dunking on a fundraiser for animals is exactly where you'd like to go with this. It seems a little strange. It seems a little weird. 2 Haitian nationals charged with $7 million SNAP fraud in Massachusetts. 2 tiny storefronts were out redeeming full-service supermarkets, and nobody noticed for years. Antonio Bonhier, 74, I almost dyslexiaed, and Saul Elisme, 21, both Haitian nationals, were arrested and charged with trafficking over $7 million in SNAP benefits from 2 small shops in Boston's Mattapan neighborhood. The numbers are staggering. Monthly SNAP redemptions at Jesuela Variety Store regularly exceeded $100,000, with some months hitting $500,000. A full-service supermarket in the same area redeems about $82,000 per month. And I definitely remember talking about this previously before they were charged, but this is actually like, they got charged in December with this. So it's not just it's not just them knowing that the fraud is going on anymore, finally being charged for it. Undercover operations caught both men exchanging SNAP benefits for cash and selling liquor in exchange for food stamps. Photos from the stores show virtually no legitimate food inventory, and it gets worse. Both stores were also selling Manna Pack meals, a donated food product from the nonprofit Feed My Starving Children, intended for humanitarian relief at $8 per package, profiting off of food meant for starving children. Hey, that's interesting. That's interesting that there's a Feed My Starving Children fraud happening in Massachusetts right after the Feeding Our Future fraud in Minnesota. That's got, who could have seen that coming? They allegedly laundered the proceeds through multiple bank accounts to obscure the source of funds. If convicted, they face up to 5 years in prison and $250,000 fines. The Trump administration recently demanded states turn over SNAP recipient data, including immigration status, to root out fraud. Stories like this explain why. $7 million stolen, children's food sold for profit, 2 tiny shops, 0 oversight. Massachusetts, it's your home, but it's run so poorly, same. I genuinely hate seeing what has happened to Massachusetts, and I have another tab on these guys. We went to the alleged $7 million SNAP fraud store to interview the owners, but they weren't there. This is what we found.
Hey, it's Jack. I'm in Mattapan, across from the convenience store that is involved with the SNAP fraud allegations, completely allegations at this point, that U.S. Attorney Leah Foley laid out yesterday. Approximately $7 million in alleged SNAP or food stamp fraud out of the store across the street. And I can report to you that we just came from the store looking for the owners, Antonio and Saul. Forgive us, we'll skip the last names, having trouble pronouncing those. We could not find either Antonio or Saul at the location, but we did go inside and look for them. A couple of breaking tidbits that we want to add to this report. Again, allegations only. We went here to kind of see if we could get their point of view on the allegations, to see if they wanted to answer our questions regarding the allegations. Unfortunately, they weren't here. Tidbits that we found out at the Secretary of State's office. We found that Antonio Mr.
Bona,
whatever his last name is, no disrespect, he is listed as a manager for an LLC that is very close.
if they're selling the meals for $8, it's no longer a charity. Sorry, guy, you got abused. I mean, like, if he worked for them like 10 years ago and it was not people taking advantage of it, it could have been a legit charity at one point. That's probably how a lot of this started out, right? Obviously not the Feeding Our Futures one, because that was set up by Ilhan Omar herself. But if they're long-standing charities, and the Massachusetts area does have a lot of long-standing charities, I participated in some when I was in high school. It's very possible that they were originally charities, and then eventually people came in and started defrauding all of the systems. Killjoy Tommy, thank you. They get meals donated to them by Feed My Starving Children, and we're reselling them. That means that somebody might have known what was going on, right? Like, you don't want to just say there's no culpability at all when we're finding out how much charity fraud is going on, right? Like, I get not wanting to see something that you've participated in previously have bad apples, but like, you can't just excise that possibility.
Name, which is displayed twice on the awning outside of the building, which I hope you can see from here. Mattapan Choice Multi-Service Center. There is an LLC under his name with a similar name to that, especially the Multi-Service Center. We'll put it up on the screen for you. Interestingly enough, one of the managers of that LLC with the similar name gives a street address of another convenience store just down the street here, where the old Oriental Theater used to be. So like
you can't call it
2
that
blocks
anymore.
Maybe maximum. So that's a connection to another store that maybe the U.S. Attorney wants to look into. Maybe they're already doing it, or not. You know, just completely randomly, that might be something they want to look into. However, there's absolutely no indication and no proof that any of this allegation is true, or that that other store would be involved in any way, shape, or form.
We need more investigation.
It's just a connection through the Massachusetts Secretary of State's paperwork that one of the managers at an LLC, very similar to this, listed a convenience store as their address, just a short distance away. Secondly, also at this address, and we'll just pull up on the second floor, and this is also probably completely unrelated, just like the other convenience store, but probably completely unrelated, is on the second floor is Prestige Immigration, DNA testing, and income tax services.
Totally unrelated. I see
there are
no
also
relation.
a couple of other financial organizations on the.
And they have the Prestige Immigration DNA collection on site. Green card renewal, petition for family, fiance visa, visitor visa, petition to remove, condition on green card, adjustment status, deferred action, TPS temporary protected status, adoption service, travel document, DNA immigration testing, asylum and withholding of removal. Call us to schedule a consultation today.
Second floor, but with Prestige Immigration, they will help you fill out your immigration paperwork on the second floor, if that's a service you need.
Completely
There doesn't
unrelated.
seem to be any connection at all with the owners of the convenience store. Oh, hold on, let me get my air quotes. Convenience store on the first floor. Just pointing that out here in Mattapan. All right, I'm John F. Gately. We'll keep you posted.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for keeping us posted. Exclusive photos of the convenience store at the center of the alleged $7 million fraud scheme. Not alleged anymore since they've been charged, brother man. Hell yeah. Damn, that doesn't look very convincing. What the fuck am I even looking at? What is even, is this a piss bottle in the corner? Why is this bottle so yellow? What is happening? Is this a convenience store in 1840? It might be. Coconut! Oh, they have coconut! That's some dark-ass piss. Unsanitary food conditions. I'm not surprised. Okay, it's a better angle of the piss bottle and some sort of dark Coke without a label on it. How weird. How strange. Why are there beads up here? What are the fucking beads for? Why is there an open sack of corn? What am I buying shit from a grocery store in Red Dead Redemption? What is happening? What is this image up here? Well, we must enhance. Enhance. Ooh. Jesus! There's a Jesus on the Mustang! So, it's a video saying Keith Porter Jr. was a father of two, a son and a brother whose life was stolen by an off-duty ICE agent. His family gathered in grief, demanding the truth. We will continue to stand with Keith Porter Jr.'s family until there is justice, transparency, and answers. I feel like just the overt lying about situations, especially in regards to that lady with the last name Good that got shot by an ICE agent in defense of her trying to hit him. I feel like the overt lying does the exact opposite of what these propagandists want, where there's a small, group of useful idiots who just believe whatever the fuck they're told, and then everyone else sees the language of, life was stolen by an off-duty ICE agent, and they're immediately like, okay, what did the person do to the ICE agent? Because you don't phrase it that way unless it was a rightful shooting in defense, and the ICE agent was probably not incorrect at all. So where's the video? Where's the proof here? Didn't he, shoot at people? I have no idea. Let's see what the video says.
Keith Porter's mother, overcome with grief at the candlelight vigil in Carson where she raised him. This is the second memorial in a week for the father of two shot and killed in Northridge by
the second memorial in a week? Man, what the hell happened?
Off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve.
Took our loved one from us. You murdered our loved one, and it's not fair. It's not right.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, the off-duty ICE agent heard gunfire near his apartment and went to check it out. That's when DHS says the officer encountered Porter holding a long rifle. Advocates say Porter's gunfire that night was his way of observing the holiday.
Well, yes, it was illegal.
Now, I fucking get behind the man shooting a rifle off in the air to lower the property values, right? You know, get a much more easy way to get into home ownership. That would make sense. But what does it mean? We're celebrating the holiday. What the fuck?
Legal, but at the end of the day, it's American tradition.
I'm 80.
It's an American tradition? What fucking holiday was he shooting into the air, brother? What the fuck are we talking about? What dumb fuck holiday? You're pro Second Amendment, but just firing in the air in a city is not legal? The father was even like, it's not illegal. Or sorry, it is illegal, but it's American history or whatever the fuck he said. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Shooting into the air is absolutely dangerous. Yeah, the father even admitted it's illegal. So what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Years old. It's happened as long as I can remember. That's one of the things that happens. People shoot guns as part of fireworks and celebration of the new year.
I have lived in many places and I have not known a single individual to shoot guns in the air to celebrate New Year's. I'm like, what the actual fuck? Okay, Grandma, back into the home with you. Jesus fucking Christ, these people are insane. You know, these are the same people who would say guns shouldn't be legal to own because they're dangerous. They have absolutely no principles. Literally fucking none.
The agent allegedly ordered Porter to put down the weapon. And when he didn't comply, DHS says the off-duty officer fired his service gun.
So what you're saying is this man was illegally shooting his firearm into the sky. And when an ICE agent confronted him and asked him to drop his weapon, he did not do so. What are we doing here? What are we actually doing here? This is crazy. It reminds me of how, like, when you get pulled over, if you are legally carrying a firearm, you're usually like, oh, hey, officer, I have a pistol in a holster in this area in my car, just to let them know, right? And then you have on the flip side, the people who are just like, I'm not going to put down my gun. Why would I put down my gun? Because if you don't, that officer's probably going to think you intend to shoot them with good reason.
The agency claims Porter fired 3 rounds at the off-duty agent before he was killed.
What do you mean I can't fire 3 shots at an ICE agent? What do you mean that's illegal? What do you mean I can't just kill someone and they can defend themselves? You shouldn't be able to defend yourself. You should just die. I hate these people so fucking much.
This is a human rights issue.
The 43-year-old's death.
Yeah, it is a human rights issue when we're literally getting in trouble for defending ourselves from psychopaths trying to shoot us. What the fuck?
Touching complete strangers. Judy Vaughn from Mid-City drove 20 miles to Carson for his memorial.
Why?
Instead of marching at an anti-ICE protest closer to home.
We all need to recognize the shared humanity and come together. And I just wanted to be here.
Does she realize that if she was getting robbed and she brought out a gun and rightfully shot the person assaulting her and robbing her, she would be the bad guy? Does she realize this? Does she realize this? Like, it's not even a leap in logic. It's so easy to explain.
To be a part of this group saying his life is valuable, his life matters.
Oh, this lady got pineapple?
We need to speak out in as many ways as possible.
While LAPD investigates what led up to Porter's final moments,
they already have t-shirts, man.
People here want the off-duty ICE officer identified, arrested, and charged.
Arrested for what? Bro, as much as these people want it to be illegal to defend yourself when they try to kill you, it's actually not. It's actually not illegal to defend yourself. That's crazy.
Hurt, lost. It was my brother. He was my life.
Well, he shouldn't have tried shooting a fucking ICE agent. What do you mean?
My kid's life. He was the life of our family.
Organizers say on Tuesday that they will attend LAPD's police commission meeting to petition the chief to make Keith Porter's death investigation transparent. Organizers also acknowledge the shooting death of Renee Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minnesota. In Carson, Tim Pulliam, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
I'm just like aghast. What the fuck is happening? They're monetizing their homie. Yeah, it's like two vigils in the past week And they're like, the lying is so blatant at this point. It feels just like nobody can possibly believe the lies, so it has to be grifting, right? It has to be trying to make money off of a situation because you know people will feel bad. Zachary Rollick, thank you. Celebratory New Year's gunfire is pretty normal in some rural places. Now in a city that's completely insane, on top of this guy being a psycho. I mean, I've been in some pretty rural places. I haven't heard people shoot off guns for New Year's. I mean, maybe it could be in some, like, tiny towns, like a tradition, but, like, what the fuck? Was Keith shooting blanks? Is the question people should be asking. Are there riots taking place from this? Not that I know of quite yet. There were a bit of, like, ornery people trying to break down into, like, ICE facilities and into ICE vehicles successfully. But this was quote retweeted by some random person who said, bro, he was shooting an AR in the air in a residential apartment complex, and when an off-duty ICE agent who lived there told him to stop firing an AR into the air, Porter instead aimed at the ICE agent and fired at him multiple times. Then he got shot by ICE. So I feel like this is absolutely retarded to even be having this kind of vigil. Well, I feel like, sure, if you're the family, you can be sad. Obviously, you're going to be sad. But, like, this entire thing, again, would be avoidable if he didn't shoot at an ICE agent. Black Lives Matter slams off-duty ICE officer who shot and killed a black man who activists say was just firing his rifle into the air to celebrate the new year. My eyes can only roll so far into the back of my head before my body becomes up for grabs due to demonic possession. Black Lives Matter, I don't know why anyone still cares what anyone associated with those activists has to say, slammed an off-duty ICE officer after he fatally shoot... Black Lives Matter activist slammed an off-duty ICE officer after he fatally shooting a black man. Will Potter, U.S. senior news reporter, you need some better fucking editors, dude. What the hell? Who opened fire in his Los Angeles apartment block to, quote, celebrate the new year. The shooting unfolded as the agent, who has not been publicly identified, encountered Keith Porter Jr., 43, wielding an assault rifle at the complex where they both live on New Year's Eve. He allegedly told Porter Jr. to drop the weapon multiple times before officials say Porter Jr. fired off 3 shots at him. The agent then returned fire with his service weapon and fatally shot him, according to officials. The killing sparked controversy from Black Lives Matter supporters amid national scrutiny over the ICE shooting of protester Renee Nicole Good in Minneapolis on January 7th. Homeland Security spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin defended the off-duty ICE agent by claiming he believed Porter Jr. was an active shooter and said the agent was protecting his community where he lived. And he was! The guy literally shot at him! What the fuck do you mean? Sonic Extreme, thank you. To be honest, the whole thing could have been avoided if the guy didn't illegally fire a gun into the air. 100%. And even then, once you're firing your gun into the air and someone comes out and is like, hey bro, maybe drop the rifle and we could talk about what's going on here, bro. And instead of dropping the rifle, he turns to shoot you. Like, what the actual fuck else are you supposed to do? The agent immediately reported the incident to authorities after it happened, McLaughlin added, describing him as a brave officer who was protecting other residents. However, Porter Jr.'s loved ones claimed that he was only shooting his gun in the air to celebrate New Year's, and admitted that while it is illegal, it is common practice in their community. Well then, first of all, why was he the only one doing it? Second of all, if he was just shooting it into the air to celebrate New Year's, which was also illegal, why did he then start shooting at the ICE agent instead of putting down his firearm to have a conversation? Yeah, you know, like this lie isn't even believable. At a vigil for Porter Jr., a supporter of the family, civil rights activist Najee Ali told ABC7, yes, it was illegal, but at the end of the day, it's an American tradition. Porter Jr.'s supporters are calling for the off-duty ICE officer to be publicly identified, arrested, and charged. Authorities have so far refused to do so, with the Los Angeles Police Department saying it is continuing to investigate the shooting. No building security camera captured the shooting, and there was no body cam footage as the officer was off-duty at the time. The LAPD added that the shooting occurred around 10:40 p.m. on New Year's Eve, hours before fireworks are used to mark the occasion. Jamal Tucson, an attorney for Porter Jr.'s family, admitted at a press conference this week that the deceased acted illegally by opening fire, which can bring felony charges, but claimed that the ICE agent overreacted. I'm trying to think of what an overreaction would be for someone literally firing multiple shots at you from a firearm. And I'm not really sure what I could come up with. I mean, like, maybe if you had access to the nuclear codes and someone shot at you, and you decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna nuke the whole neighborhood. Maybe that'd be an overreaction, right? That seems That seems like a logical overreaction. But returning fire at someone who's shooting at you is not an overreaction. What the fuck did you mean? Right? Maybe an overreaction could be after you neutralize the threat that was shooting at you, you then run up to their body and stab them like 100 times, right? That's kind of excessive. That's kind of crazy. That's a bit of an overreaction. But that's not what happened here. Oh no, they're retarded. Really wish you had a body cam on him? You don't know about the no cameras part? Oh, well, he was off duty, so he wasn't wearing a uniform. He was probably in like fucking whatever he wears while he's hanging out at home. What should have been an arrest and possible citation has turned into a death sentence and potentially cold-blooded murder from an ICE agent who was not equipped to handle the situation, Tucson said. No, I think the man shooting at the ICE agent was not mentally equipped to own a firearm is actually what's going on here. This could have been an arrest and a citation, except this man shot at the ICE agent. Like, what the fuck are you doing? He actually did go and wear his uniform when confronting that person, so he knew he was a law officer. That's even more wild if the fucking ICE agent had enough time while this guy was shooting into the air to put on his official uniform to walk outside and confront him. And then while wearing the official uniform, this guy shot at him. That's fucking crazy. Tucson said that multiple people fired guns from the apartment complex that night to ring in the new year, but only one was murdered. Yeah, I'm gonna need a fucking source on how many people were shooting their fucking gun off, dude. The attorney said he interviewed several witnesses, including one who heard someone demand that Porter put down the rifle, but claimed no one heard anyone identify themselves as law enforcement. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office said it is reviewing Porter's killing. However, the LA Times notes that the office often takes years to determine deadly use of force incidents. Under Los Angeles city law, LAPD officers are required to identify themselves in use of force cases, but there is no such law that would compel a federal agent under the Department of Homeland Security to do so. The ICE agent's status as a federal employee may complicate the investigation, local officials said, because LAPD does not have the same powers as if the agent was an LAPD officer. Is this them admitting that they would fully railroad one of their own officers, but they're worried that they're not going to be able to do that to the ICE agent? That's kind of an interesting way to phrase things. Caleb Mason, a former federal prosecutor who's now a partner with Worksman, Jackson, and Quinn in Los Angeles, told the LA Times that investigators are limited, as they do not have the ability to compel a federal agent to answer questions, nor to grant some kind of immunity. They could convene a grand jury and subpoena the person to come to the grand jury, and that person could then invoke their Fifth Amendment rights. At the vigil, Porter Jr.'s sister, Chanita Fata, told ABC7 that her family were devastated by the shooting. And she said she blamed the ICE agent who took our loved one. You murdered our loved one, and that's not fair. No, your loved one was a retard who shot at an ICE agent. And then he unfortunately got killed for it. What world are we living in where anyone thinks it's okay to shoot at somebody, and that if you die when they return fire in defense, that somehow they're at fault? What is happening? We are hurt, lost. That was my brother. He was my life. He was our family's life, she said. Well, he should have thought about that before shooting at a fucking agent. What the hell? Vigil attendee Judy Vaughn, 80, said people firing their guns in the air was a common practice in the Los Angeles area, saying that people shoot their guns as part of fireworks. I just don't believe you. I just, in Los Angeles, with strict gun control, I just don't believe you. This is what the result of when you constantly give in to toddlers' tantrums? Yes, this is a human rights issue. I'll agree with her there. It is a human rights issue, because if we lose our ability to defend ourselves because some people are fucking crazy and want to be able to just murder you indiscriminately and face no consequences for it, yeah, this is a human rights issue. Vaughn said she drove 20 miles to attend Porter Jr.'s vigil rather than go to an anti-ICE protest closer to her home. She said she wanted to pay her respects because his life was valuable and his life mattered. Civil rights activist Ben Crump also called out the case on X, saying in a post, Keith Porter Jr. was a father of two, a son and a brother whose life was stolen by an off-duty ICE agent. His family gathered in grief demanding the truth. We will continue to stand with Keith Porter Jr.'s family until there is justice, transparency, and answers. There's already been justice. He shot an ICE agent, and the ICE agent shot him. Justice delivered. His life didn't matter enough to put the gun down. I just do not understand, man. Their GoFundMe is about to hit $500,000. They're salivating and don't even know who Porter is anymore. Fools calling him Terry Porter with stacks of GoFundMe flow. I am once again thinking about how that Indian Slappa website made an article trying to say that I was saying it's okay to call little black children the N-word from that Minneapolis situation. When they posted my VOD, which unfortunately has now expired, but they did add a correction to the top of the page, however much that means from the Indian website. But they tried to, like, add fuel to the cancellation fire by saying I was defending that, when I was merely saying, like, yeah, you probably shouldn't call kids slurs, but I can understand why this is where we are right now. When we have all these GoFundMes making hundreds of thousands of dollars for clear fucking criminals, I don't care if people want to give money to a woman who said a slur and didn't do anything violent. Especially when she was being robbed. Like, why should I care about that when these people are raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for people like Carmelo Anthony, for people like this guy who probably would have killed this ICE agent if he didn't return fire in self-defense, for the woman who tried to run over an ICE agent with her vehicle? Why should I care? Why should I care? Get time to put on a uniform, wait until the body cam footage comes out? I hope there was a body cam on. I hope there was. I feel like any of these officers engaging in anything, whether on or off duty, they should always put on their body cam. Always, always. Because it's going to help more than it's going to hurt. This was the mayor of Lawrence, Massachusetts. I've talked about Lawrence, Mass before. Anal Violence decided to include me talking about Lawrence in one of the hit pieces because obviously he's never been there. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I lived near Lawrence for the majority of my life. My dad warned me not to go to Lawrence as both a white person and a woman. I didn't listen to my father because I was a teenager, and that's where I saw my first actual murder. That was cool. That was it was not cool. I'm being sarcastic. Lawrence has always been a very dangerous place. It has always been considered a gang town in the middle of an otherwise, like, nice area of Massachusetts. This is where lots of gang activity happens, and you shouldn't go there unless you're prepared to see what happens in large gang activity areas. The mayor of Lawrence, a once prominent manufacturing town that is now overwhelmingly Hispanic, needs a translator in court. The judge refused to let him use the translator due to possible mistranslations. Do you think English should be required to work in city government? Yes, I do. I think it is a massive problem if you need a translator and you're going to be the mayor of a city. But when you're in a city that is essentially a no-go zone to the majority of residents, this does not surprise me.
So I'm advised by counsel for the respondent that they indeed encourage this and had.
I also, like, in typical Massachusetts fashion, this has been recorded on something equivalent to a potato.
Substitution and have no objection and waive any objection they would have to the use of your services as a translator here. The division has a concern and has raised an objection based on the fact that counsel,
in a nutshell,
much like me in my capacity as a hearing officer, don't speak Spanish, and therefore we're unable to decide independently whether questions are being translated both directions from the attorney and from the witness accurately. So I appreciate that objection. I do believe that under the circumstances, without objection from the respondent, we could proceed with your services. The risk is that there are many people associated with these proceedings, including the respondent himself and other people on the...
Actually wild to see. Is this translator just someone's aunt? It might as well be. Lawrence has been boned for a long time. Yeah, I'm saying this is like, I was told this when I was a kid. I saw a murder there when I was a teenager. Like, this has been this way for probably even before I was alive. Your brother used to live in Lawrence with his first ex-wife. A house across the street from where they'd been living exploded one day. It was a gas leak, but everyone's first thought was that it was a drug lag that went up, which tells you how normal that sounds to them. Yeah? I mean, when people say that, you know, there was a drug lab that went up in, like, Seabrook or something, you know, I'm not surprised. I unfortunately didn't get to see any drug lab explosions when I was a kid, but I did get to see quite a few drug raids in what was affectionately known as the Avs, Yeah, Mayor, now do you propose to fix the crime in potholes? No hablo inglés, pretty much. Former Healey aide is accused of drug trafficking, or the former Healey aide that was accused of drug trafficking, mistakenly paid $30K in vacation pay, admin says. Boston, Massachusetts, Governor Maura Healey's administration admitted Tuesday to mistakenly paying out a former aide over $30,000 in unused vacation pay. Was it a mistake, though? Was it a mistake? Lamar Cook, 45, is facing charges that include cocaine trafficking, unlawful possession of a firearm, and unlawful possession of ammunition. Cook was fired from his position as the deputy director of Governor's Western Massachusetts office in Springfield after he was arrested in 2025. According to state records in 2025, Cook was paid $31,438.56 in leave, buyback, or unused vacation pay, in addition to his base pay of $98,788.77. You struggle to get vacation pay on purpose? Yeah, right? If fucking Springfield, imagine. Why is the only round one in Massachusetts in the Springfield area? Can we like just ask that question? Can round one like put one in a better location? What the fuck is Lamar doing outside of Los Santos? Get back into Grand Theft Auto. Oh my god. Taxpayer dollars should never go to an individual who engaged in this type of outrageous criminal activity. This payment was erroneously made and we have taken action to get it back, a spokesman for Healey's Executive Office for Administration and Finance said in a statement. Investigators said they intercepted a package containing more than 15 pounds of cocaine at the Springfield State Office building where Cook worked. The investigation stems from 2 prior seizures conducted by law enforcement in October, officials said. On October 10th, investigators intercepted and searched 2 suspicious packages at Hotel UMass in Amherst, which were found to contain suspected cocaine, officials said. That individual underwent a complete background check, Healey said. He has been terminated, and he was immediately terminated. That is all I can say right now. You know, it is subject to a criminal investigation, Healey said of Cook back in October. Yeah, I feel like this probably wasn't a mistake, and they're only backtracking it because they got caught. That's kind of what that feels like. The entire Minneapolis City Council is demanding that Governor Tim Walz enact a statewide eviction moratorium, because their constituents are too busy protesting and rioting to go to work and pay their rent. If he does this, I will not know what to say. This is the absolute dumbest fucking thing I have heard thus far coming out of all of this Minneapolis shit. This is the Somalis are taking advantage of the system and I'm jealous that I can't do it too. So give me free money. Minneapolis, please stop, you're drunk. You'd ask, can he even do that? But you know the answer is no. And you know the further answer is, it doesn't matter if he can or can't, because if he wants to, he's just going to. As we've seen, most of the far leftists do not give a shit about what actually is and isn't legal. They're just going to do it if they want to. Rioters are attempting to break down the fence outside the Minneapolis ICE facility. Another rioter jumped in and said, "We don't have the numbers yet." This is why the Insurrection Act must be invoked now before it's too late.
So they saw this stuff.
Oh shit, they're coming deep. Oh fuck. The gate's open. The gate's open. Oh shit. They destroyed lives, dude. It comes really easily from a white dude to say the teeth of peace.
Did she say they destroyed lives? It comes really easily for a white dude? You know what destroys lives? People coming here illegally and taking advantage of our systems. We cannot be the teat of the world. Why do you not care about Americans? The Insurrection Act would be detrimental to our momentum right now. So we just let Minneapolis burn, I guess? Like, what would you even say to that? Why is Trump taking so long with the Insurrection Act? This should have been enacted a week ago. It should have been. And I genuinely don't know why they wouldn't. The only people who this would look bad to are people who would never have voted for Trump in the first place. Governor Tim Walz saying something really fucking dumb, saying, "I am making a direct appeal to the president. Let's turn the temperature down." Why is it always on the Republicans to turn the temperature down when it's your side committing violence, your side committing fraud, your side making everything like, objectively worse for everyone. And then when law and order steps in to wrestle things back into a place of normalcy, suddenly it's the people defending themselves that have to turn the temperature down. Not the people causing the actual issues. I hate this. I hate this gaslighting so fucking much. I'm just gonna put you in chains, Tampon Timmy. I hope we get that. It will be a severe miscarriage of justice if we do not. She said, let's turn the temperature down. Stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are. And an appeal to Minnesotans. I know this is scary. We must speak out loudly, urgently, but also peacefully. We cannot fan the flames of chaos. That's what he wants. Oh, we'll never stop leering. Good lord. Thank you, Grokathy, for the good education. You spent the entire 2026 year so far saying your state is at war with the federal government. You are quite literally fanning the flames of chaos. Yes. Yes, he is, dude. Please don't riot. Oh my god. I don't think he cares. I don't think Mr. I'm friends with school shooters cares, to be fair. The Trump admin is creating a database of all leftist insurrectionists attacking ICE and will be broadcasting their names and face. They're also going to contact employers. Tom Homan said, we're going to make them famous. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods and their schools know who these people are. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know what they're doing. And Eric Doherty said, I love this idea. I'm actually going to break away from that, and I'm going to say, I don't love this idea. I don't love the fact that instead of going in and arresting these people, which apparently you know who they are if you're creating a database on them, I think you should be arresting these people. Why the government would want to make a database of all of these people's names and information should be sending red flags up to everyone. They shouldn't need to be making a database. They know who these people are. These people should be arrested and they should be charged. We don't need a government database. Additionally, they're also going to contact employers. Why would the government spend time doing that? Why would the government make this database and then, we're going to tell your boss on you. You're the fucking government, bro. Why are you not arresting and charging? Contacting the employers would be something a la vigilante justice, would it not? Vigilante justice because there's no other power that people have to deal with the violence in this manner. But again, you are the federal government. And I don't like the idea of the federal government creating a database of people that it could instead just fucking arrest. Freeze their assets, arrest them, punish them. Yeah, they can arrest them, but they don't have a good way to get rid of the judges and the Soros DAs. The Soros DAs and the judges that are activists need to get gone. They need to be removed. I don't know if there's any way to go through a completely legal path to doing so, but at this point, much like fucking President Bukake has said, if we don't get rid of the activist judges, we will never be able to fix this mess. And I don't like the idea of a government making some weird searchable database because they're unwilling to remove activist judges and just fucking arrest and charge these psychopath terrorists. Easier to do this than to push through rioters to get them. At least this way people will see them and know what kind of crazy they are. I don't like government database. I don't like that. Fuck the database, arrest these asshats. Yeah, I don't care if this is easier. You are the government. You shouldn't be taking the easy way out. You shouldn't be doing something that any dumbass with a Twitter account can do. You should be arresting and charging. Can't arrest and charge because of activist judges? Get rid of the fucking judges. Do your fucking job. It's up to Congress to remove judges, and unless we primary the majority of Congress, they won't. That's why I said, like, I think the primaries are a little too close to really float new candidates right now. If somehow you can in your state, then fucking go for it. But we either need to vote for the spineless do-nothings one more time, and then hard fucking train to primary them the next one. Because if Democrats get in, everything is going to steam to a halt. And if Democrats get in overwhelmingly with the presidency again, we are fucked. And I do not like thinking about that kind of future where everything will get far more authoritarian and we will become far more like Britain. The spineless do-nothing Republicans need to be removed. But first and foremost, we should be thinking of the bigger picture where, yes, the spineless do-nothings need to be removed, but if our only other choice is letting Democrats take over more seats, then the spineless do-nothings need to be voted for one more time, and then we need to work our asses off to get rid of the spineless do-nothings after that. Department of Justice investigating Governor Walz, Minneapolis Mayor Frey, U.S. officials say. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey are under federal investigation, 2 U.S. officials told WCCO on Friday afternoon. Walz and Frey are being investigated by the Department of Justice for allegedly obstructing law enforcement activities. WCCO has reached out to Walz and Frey's offices for comment. The investigation comes after new details were released on the January 7th fatal shooting of 37-year-old Renee Good in South Minneapolis by ICE officer Jonathan Ross. The reports say Good had at least 3 gunshot wounds on her chest, her left arm, and a possible one on her head. President Trump on Thursday threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would allow him to deploy troops to quell protests in Minnesota after 2 shootings, one fatal by federal immigration enforcement agents there. On Friday, Governor Tim Walz's office confirmed that he is engaged in an ongoing conversation with the White House. Mr. Trump has repeatedly threatened to invoke the rarely used federal law to deploy the U.S. military or federalize the National Guard for domestic law enforcement, over the objections of state governors, including in Illinois last fall. Minnesota safety officials and the state's National Guard are set to speak on Friday afternoon ahead of demonstrations scheduled to happen this weekend. A raid on a South Minneapolis apartment building Thursday left a family shaken after documents revealed that agents swarmed the incorrect address. A family in Minneapolis claims immigration enforcement agents detonated a tear gas canister underneath their vehicle even though they were just attempting to drive through. They had 6 children in the car, ages ranging from 11 to a 6-month-old infant. A union representing MSP airport employees says more than a dozen workers have been apprehended by ICE on the job, even inside the terminal. An ICE officer shot a Venezuelan national in the leg Wednesday night in North Minneapolis after the officer was allegedly attacked by men with a shovel and a broom handle, 3 U.S. officials told CBS News. And, this apparently... So there was a Venezuelan national that attacked the officer with a shovel and a broom handle, but then there was another one that's like actually a woman who's supposedly trans. You can tell from like the weird pubic hair beard. And like she got stabbed or shot in the eye or some shit. I don't know what the fuck happened with that. I need like an article. 21-year-old activist injured by ICE. I will be blind for life. I have fractures in my skull they can't fix. I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous to. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. I had shards of metal, glass, and plastic behind my eye and in my skull. They said it was a miracle I survived. How did they have shards of metal, glass, and plastic if it was a pepper ball? How the fuck did that happen?
Well, can you tell us about your injuries now and the prognosis? Will you be blind in that eye for life?
From what I've heard the doctors say and everyone else, yes, I will be blind for life. They said my globe was ruptured. I had like my lower lid was like cut up, and they had to take skin from my temple to fix it. There's a lot to it. I don't remember all the things that they said. I have fractures in my skull that they can't fix, and I can't sneeze or cough because it's dangerous too. I remember also when I shot, there was pepper in it, and I had pepper down my throat. It made it hard to breathe for a long time. They pulled a piece of plastic the size of a nickel out of my eye. They said I had shards of metal, glass, and plastic all throughout my eye and behind my eye and in my skull. And they also said that I had a piece of shrapnel metal about a few millimeters away from my carotid artery. And they said it was a miracle I survived, because if it got any closer, if it hit that, I would have died that night.
Totally blind right now? You see nothing out of the eye?
Nothing out of this eye. Yeah, it's black.
Do you think this will encourage this person to no longer do dangerous things? Do you think this will encourage them to not attempt to attack ICE agents? I love this person tried jumping on ICE and assaulting them and cries about the results. It's just like, this should be a very big learning moment for this individual. Should be a very big learning moment. You lost an eye? He wouldn't be running to the news. Press X to doubt. I feel like it makes sense that they start talking to the news, and the eye does look very fucked up. It does look very fucked up. Maybe, just maybe, they should not impede law enforcement making an arrest. Maybe they would not have lost an eye, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It says, Asmongold said he seriously considered doing less politics to make a decision sometime this year. If things keep getting this deranged, you're not even having a conversation, not accomplishing anything. When only people who will watch vids already agree with them, you're preaching to the choir. I think this would be a very erroneous thing to do. I think having a voice like Asmongold is something that is very good. And if he stopped talking about politics, we would basically only have the large leftist streamers. I can't think of another streamer. Like, I wouldn't even call Asmon, like, on the right. I think he's very, like, centrist. But he is, like, the largest voice for common sense. And to remove him from that atmosphere, I think things would get a lot worse. To be fair, it is stressful. It is stressful. It's very stressful. I mean, look at what I talk about. Look at, like, the fucking shit that happens to me, you know? Like, I get that it's stressful.
Stream. So yeah, definitely. And I think also the world has changed, and so have I. I think that that's also a big factor. Like, as time has gone on, like, I've considered, especially if politics keeps going, I was thinking about this a couple of days ago, is that if things keep going this deranged, because I feel like in a lot of these cases, you're not even having conversations. There's no purpose to...
I mean, I agree with him there.
There's no purpose to doing any of this, because...
Most debates, especially with streamers, are just trying to get sound bites. Like, you're not there to debate. You're not there to actually, like, explore ideas with people. Any kind of a debate is to get sound bites and to get more people, like, to just cheer on their team color. I don't think streamer debates are anything that actually works, and it feels very, very griftery when they happen.
There's just not really, let me think a good way to say it. You're not accomplishing anything by making videos about different current events whenever the only people that will watch them are people that already agree with them, and you're not really reaching anybody. You're not putting any information out there. You're not changing anybody's opinion. You're not...
I don't know how plausible it is to change opinions in current year. Like, I know there's still a lot of people in the center, but when you have come to the realization, which I'm sure he has, and he's partially explaining, that a lot of people just do not live inside reality. You cannot reach these people, no matter what you say, no matter what you show them, no matter what kind of proof you have, they will not listen to you. They will not change their minds. You cannot have a conversation with those kinds of demoralized, propagandized people. But I think he's wrong when he says that, like, you know, when you're making these videos, when you're talking about current events, you're only reaching other people that agree with you. They might be people that agree with you, but they're not people that are... How do I phrase this? They're not people that are motivated enough to actually do something about it, right? And I think people like Asmon and people like me, it's important that we talk about these current events and we keep people informed, especially because mainstream media will try and obfuscate things. They'll lie about things. The majority of people on Twitter, as you see, they will try to rewrite history. They'll try to obfuscate facts of what's happening. Especially when you came to this, like, ICE shooting recently, so many people were trying to get others to believe what they're saying instead of what people could see with their own eyes. And so it's like, he and I, where we're not incredibly radical, we're asking people, like, get involved in politics locally. Get involved in politics. Go, he didn't encourage people to vote. He tried to, like, hold some vote hostage, which I definitely disagree with him on that. Even if, like, the spineless do-nothing Republicans are the only option at the moment, because you don't have anyone else that you can place against them, it is still unfortunately better to vote for the spineless do-nothing than to not vote and have somebody else far worse take their place and make things worse for you and everything around you. It's going to make you fall more into despair, and it's going to make you feel like, well, there really is nothing I can do. And so I don't like the spineless do-nothings. I don't want the spineless do-nothings in power. I want everyone to feel like they can do something locally in their politics to either run as a candidate themselves, help another person campaign, help finance that campaign or something. Whatever you have the means to do to assist someone to run against the spineless do-nothings and actually get someone in that will do something. That will do something. And it's like, that is the only way that things are going to change in any kind of peaceful manner. That's the only way it's going to happen, is if more people get involved locally and try to do something. And so even if it's only people that agree with you that are going to consume your videos because conversations are no longer being had, it's still important to do. It's still important to help motivate people and to feel like they can make a difference, they can do something, instead of an onslaught of just like demoralizing and depressing news day after day. And then if someone like Asmon stopped talking and stopped being common sense, imagine the level of inundation with that despair and desperation that would be around. I might not agree with everything Asmon says. Of course, like, you're never going to agree 100% with anyone, but I think he's very important to be speaking out. And I would feel it a huge loss if he stopped talking mostly common sense positions, you know?
Making anybody see a different point of view. It's just you're basically preaching to the choir over and over and over. It's a circle jerk, basically. And I did think to myself, I was like, maybe I should just quit doing this, because really, people have totally lost reality. They're totally in another world. Everybody is retarded now. And not only are they retarded, but they're intentionally retarded. And so I did think
they're intentionally, dishonestly, maliciously retarded. And it's like those aren't people that you can have conversations with. And I would agree it's a safer thing, right? If he wanted to be safer, he could stop talking about politics. I mean, the people who are lying about him and who want him harmed aren't ever going to stop doing that. But it would stop snowballing if he just went back to playing games, if he stopped talking about his opinions, and if, he became a bit more sponsor friendly again, I guess I would say. But even in his own advice, he said, like, you don't want to have to be beholden to sponsors, because that's going to dictate what you can and can't say for the most part. There is no option to just grill. They are targeting us through the law. They're doing the things they claim is happening to them 100%. 100%. And someone in chat said, like, without Asmon, I wouldn't have brought up what Crime Boss had done to me. And it's like, that's very true. He played a pivotal role in, like, advice that I've taken and applied to, like, how I have done things and how I can feel comfortable speaking up about things as well. Right? Seeing someone like Asmongold in the position that he's in, tanking the kind of, like, dangerous retards that he does, is like, okay, maybe because someone like him is doing it, I can feel more comfortable in speaking out too. Taking away his voice would make it so much harder for other people trying to also be common sense. And I mean, he admitted that while I was getting canceled as well. He's like, they go after someone like Kirsche because they can't do anything to me. And they're just doing more than attacking through the law. Just watch the organized mobs that stalked Nick Shirley. This is a many-headed hydra. Oh, 100%. 100%. Our main tank is going down. If he fails, we lose so much momentum. And that's the way I feel. I think it's much better to look at someone like Asmon who tries to be rational and tries to be common sense, rather than looking at someone who's, like, insanely radical and says like, oh, let's just vote for Kamala Harris or whatever, right? Like, that level of accelerationism, I think, is bad. And I can understand, when Asmon has a couple of those takes, like, oh, just don't vote if, they won't do anything. I understand the frustration behind that. And I can sometimes feel that frustration as well, but I don't want to give up,
Think about cutting it down a lot, because it's just like, what's the point doing it when everybody lies? You're talking to a wall. You're going to tell somebody that 2 + 2 is 4. They're going to say, no, it's 7. And there's never going to be a point where they listen to you. They're not going to, like, understand it. They're not going to engage in good faith. Yeah.
Because it's not for them. And I mean, I get asked this a lot when I correct lies on Twitter, or sometimes when I correct lies on stream, but less often than when I correct them on Twitter. You don't correct the lies and you don't showcase the truth for the sake of the liars. The liars are never going to stop lying. You're showcasing the truth and you're correcting the lies for the sake of everyone else normal who might be looking at it. Right? The liar is going to continue to lie and try to get more people to believe their lies. Whereas you are the one shining light and showing what reality actually is. The more you do that, the more Asmon talks about these things and shows what's actually going on, the less the liars can convert and win more people with their lies. That is why it is so important. You never think about the liars. They're worthless. They're demoralized. They'll always lie. You will never reach them. It is impossible. But you do this for the sake of everyone else who's not lying and who wants some semblance of truth. Again, don't listen to the words coming out of my mouth or coming out of his mouth. Watch the things that we play on stream. Watch the videos of on-the-ground things that we're showing. Watch videos from body cams. Look at the articles that we're reading, right? Like, it's not a case of just believing us wholesale, because we're human. We're going to get things wrong on occasion, too. Not maliciously, but it's going to happen. Can't be right all the time. But it's like, that's why it's so important. The average normal person craves that kind of authenticity. They crave actually knowing what's going on. And you're never going to stop the liars. To try and like seed your position because liars aren't going to stop lying is just a level of giving up that seems insane.
I don't know. But I have thought about that. I'll make a decision about that over this year, right? If it's like worth doing or not. Because it's just that it's just so disappointing to me that so many people can be so stupid.
It is.
It's so disappointing. And I think the reason why is because everybody can vote, if you want me to be honest. I think if everybody couldn't vote, we wouldn't have any of these problems. But now that they can, things are retarded.
Yeah, things are quite retarded. I don't know how we're going to fix everything. I don't think I'm smart enough to come up with solutions to fix everything. If all I can do is motivate other people to get involved in politics locally where they live, then I feel like I've achieved a goal. Right? I feel like I've done what I can if I can at least do that. If I can have some updates from people in my chat where they're talking about how they're like running for some local council seat, or they're running for like a mayor position, or they're going to like the school boards and doing shit, I'll feel like I've succeeded. Guy's blackpilled, you can't necessarily blame him, but we need voices. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him for feeling that way at all. It is insane, and it is mentally draining to deal with the amount of liars that people like he and I have to. I mean, that was one of the first things that like I asked him about as well, is just like, how do you deal with this? Because like I was completely new to like that level of lies about me, that level of misinformation, that level of swarming my sponsors, that level of just animosity and hatred and wishing to see me destitute and deplatformed and even physically harmed. And so like the only person I knew that I could ask about those questions was Asmon, because the level of animosity towards him is just so fucking crazy. Like you said, you get it, but damn, man, as whatever it sounds like it or not, you guys are symbols of hope. It's like, I don't want to be like put on a pedestal or something. I just want to motivate people to get involved locally in their politics. That's what I want.